Hey everybody, welcome back to the Here to See channel, where we focus on sharing pearls of wisdom, nuggets of knowledge, understanding the difficult, and instructions for a better life. The Left Behind series. Left Behind. Awesome book. And there's free audio of the Left Behind, the whole series available. So stay tuned to this video to learn how to see it and hear it. So what are you going to see in this video? Well, we're going to cover the history of the Left Behind book, the Left Behind book series, some Left Behind movies. Here, a Left Behind audiobook sample, my favorite. Here, a free sample of Left Behind reading from YouTube, and learn how to listen free to all the Left Behind books on YouTube, and learn about some other great Here to See recommendations. But now, about Left Behind. Left Behind is a novel written in 1995 by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins that ended up being a series of excellent books and audiobooks. Only one series will take you to the end of the world as you explore eternal truth. The best-selling Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. Now the entire series is available in an audiobook format. Each abridged audio is read by Frank Mueller. When the trumpet sounds, where will you be? Passengers in an airborne Boeing 747 find out in this riveting novel by renowned Christian speaker Tim LaHaye and master storyteller Jerry Jenkins. Without any warning, passengers mysteriously disappear from their seats. Terror and chaos slowly spreads not only through the plane but also worldwide as unusual events continue to unfold. For those who have been left behind, the apocalypse has just begun. The fictional account of life after the rapture delivers an urgent call to today's listeners to prepare their own hearts and minister to others. 12 books in the series by New York Times best-selling authors Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins cover the events of biblical prophecy surrounding the rapture and the 7-year period known as the tribulation that follows. And I first read the Left Behind book back in the 90s, and it was so riveting I couldn't put the book down. I'd stay up to early hours in the morning reading and completing each book as they'd be released. It was so fascinating. I'm an avid Audible listener, and I was led to listen again to the Left Behind in Audible on an audiobook, which I had never done before. And it's so very well written. It's so very good. But now, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, a little more information. Here's the Wikipedia description of Left Behind. And you can read this and it will tell you all about the Left Behind book series and movies, video games, and even children's series spun out of this. But right now we want to focus on the Left Behind book itself that started it all. You can find it on Amazon, of course. And here is the 25th anniversary edition available, only $6. And here's the audiobook available, and also available on Audible. And I've got some samples of that for you coming up. And you can get it at Christian Book also for $6.99. And you can get the whole collection of books in Kindle, the whole collection, for $34.49. That's pretty exciting too if you're a Kindle reader. And there again is the list of all the books that came out of this series. And there have been 2 movies that were created based on the first Left Behind book. The first, Left Behind, the movie, was based on the first book of the series, and it was released in 2000 with Kirk Cameron as one of the lead players. The second movie, starring Nicolas Cage, Left Behind, was released in 2014. But again, I will say they're both good movies, but they do not hold a candle to the book, and I especially like the audiobook. Now here's a sample of the audiobook on Amazon that you can listen to. And stay tuned, because I'm going to share with you a way you can hear the Left Behind absolutely free. So keep watching. But now for the Audible sample.
Rayford Steele's mind was on a woman he had never touched. With his fully loaded 747 on autopilot above the Atlantic en route to a 6 a.m. landing at Heathrow, Rayford had pushed from his mind thoughts of his family. Over spring break he would spend time with his wife and 12-year-old son. Their daughter would be home from college, too. But for now, with his first officer dozing, Rayford imagined Hattie Durham's smile and looked forward to their next meeting. Hattie was Rayford's senior flight attendant. He hadn't seen her in more than an hour. Rayford used to look forward to getting home to his wife. Irene was attractive and vivacious enough, even at 40. But lately he had found himself repelled by her obsession with religion. God was okay with Rayford Steele. Rayford even enjoyed church occasionally. But since Irene had hooked up with a smaller congregation and was into weekly Bible studies and church every Sunday, Rayford had become uncomfortable. Rayford tried to tell himself it was his wife's devotion to a divine suitor that caused his mind to wander. But he knew the real reason was his own libido. Besides, Hattie Durham was drop-dead gorgeous. No one could argue that. And Rayford could tell from her expressions, her demeanor, her eye contact, that she at least admired and respected him. They had spent time together, chatting for hours over drinks or dinner. His eyes had held her gaze, and he could only assume his smile had made its point. He was no prude, but Rayford had never been unfaithful to Irene. He had long felt guilty about a private necking session he enjoyed at a company Christmas party more than 12 years before. Irene had stayed home, uncomfortably past her 9th month, carrying their surprised tag-along son, Ray Jr. Though under the influence, Rayford had known enough to leave the party early. It was clear Irene had noticed he was slightly drunk, but she couldn't have suspected anything else, not from her straight-arrow captain. In a couple of hours, Rayford would see hints of the sun. Until then, the blackness through the window seemed miles thick. His sleeping passengers had window shades down, pillows and blankets in place. For now the plane was a dark, humming sleep chamber for all but the attendants. The question of the darkest hour before dawn, then, was whether Rayford Steele should risk a new, exciting relationship with Hattie Durham. He suppressed a smile. Was he kidding himself? Would someone with his reputation ever do anything but dream about a beautiful woman 15 years his junior? He wasn't so sure anymore. If only Irene hadn't gone off on this new kick. Would it fade, her preoccupation with the end of the world, with the love of Jesus, with the salvation of souls? Lately she had been reading about the rapture of the church. "Can you imagine, Rafe?" she exulted. "Jesus coming back to get us before we die." "Yeah, boy," he said, peeking over the top of his newspaper. "That would kill me." She was not amused. "If I didn't know what would happen to me," she said, "I wouldn't be glib about it. I only believe what the Bible says." Rayford shrugged. He wanted to say good for you, but he didn't want to make a bad situation worse. Irene had become a full-fledged religious fanatic, and somehow that freed Rayford to daydream without guilt about Hattie Durham. Next to a window in first class, a writer sat, hunched over his laptop. At 30, Cameron Williams was the youngest ever senior writer for the prestigious Global Weekly. The envy of the rest of the veteran staff, he either scooped them on or was assigned to the best stories in the world. Both admirers and detractors called him Buck because they said he was always bucking tradition and authority. Buck believed he lived a charmed life, having been eyewitness to some of the most pivotal events in history. A year and 2 months earlier, his January 1 cover story had taken him to Israel to interview Chaim Rosenzweig. The elderly Rosenzweig had been the only unanimous choice for Newsmaker of the Year in the history of global...
That was really, really good, isn't it? It is really, really good. And the entire series of the books is available in Audible audiobooks. Tribulation Force, Nikolai, Soul Harvest, Apollyon, Assassins, Indwelling, The Mark, Desecration, The Remnant, Armageddon, Glorious Appearing, and Kingdom Come. So be sure to check out Audible. Now, I've been teasing you on how you can hear the entire series free on YouTube, and you can do it on the Reach More Now YouTube channel, where Ray Monsolder reads each book on a YouTube video. He's got roughly 2 videos for each book, a part 1 and a part 2, for each book in the series, as you can see here. And the links are in the description below, as well as the links for Audible as well. So now let's listen to a sample of the Left Behind book, the first in the series, on the Reach More Now YouTube channel.
Well, hi, and welcome to a brand new book. How about this one? Left Behind by Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins. Chapter 1 of Left Behind. Rayford Steele's mind was on a woman he had never touched. With his fully loaded 747 on autopilot above the Atlantic, en route to a 6 a.m. landing at Heathrow, Rayford had pushed from his mind thoughts of his family. Over spring break, he would spend time with his wife and 12-year-old son. Their daughter would be home from college too, but for now, with his first officer dozing, Rayford imagined Hattie Durham's smile and looked forward to their next meeting. Hattie was Rayford's senior flight attendant. He hadn't seen her in more than an hour. Rayford used to look forward to getting home to his wife. Irene was attractive and vivacious enough, even at 40, but lately he had found himself repelled by her obsession with religion. It was all she could talk about. God was okay with Rayford Steele. Rayford even enjoyed church occasionally. But since Irene had hooked up with a smaller congregation and was into weekly Bible studies in church every Sunday, Rayford had become uncomfortable. Hers was not a church where people gave you the benefit of the doubt, assumed the best about you and let you be. People there had actually asked him to his face what God was doing in his life. Blessing my socks off had become the smiling response that seemed to satisfy them.
So there you have it, lots of options. Some of them free, no reason not to read and or listen to the Left Behind book. This has been our review of the Left Behind book and audiobook by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. 4 thumbs up. Think you'll really enjoy it. Take advantage of the free audio, or if you're an Audible subscriber, hey, listen to the whole series. Like and subscribe. You can see these and other great videos. Here on the Here to See channel, we've got a playlist of our recommendations so far for 2024, and we've got several items that you might find interest in. Some movie reviews, TV reviews, and other book reviews. So check that out. You can find links to all these resources in the description below. And comment below, share your experiences with us. Have you read Left Behind? What do you think about it? And do you know Jesus as your Lord and Savior? If not, read the Gospel of John chapter 3 to learn about His forgiveness. Talk to God about it. He loves you, you know. So seek Him now. Keep watching. Keep loving Him. God bless. See you next time.